4 Chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 every day.
Welcome back. And a couple of weeks ago, I think when we were doing our mid-split review, Jake said that, Gravitas weren't looking too hot back then and attributed a lot of that to the loss of Bryce. Gravitas have now turned it around, and I think dumping Bryce has been the best thing that they've ever done.
I think they heard that sentence from Sport and they had a lot of spite back there.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. That was an exciting game for Gravitas and Gravitas fans alike.
Yeah, surprising, right? Because you heard the champ select, and then going into the early stages of that game, you could tell, given what Jake was saying on cast, but also what happened. Like, that was gank after gank, pressure after piece of pressure onto the mid lane, and eventually it just didn't really account to much, right? I think the bottom side of the map for Order, unfortunately, had a pretty rough weekend. There was like a 2 versus 1 dive botched yesterday into a Rift Herald loss. They lose the lane this time, and it means that Gravitas get to stick in that game. Yep. And then you're interviewing Pabu there, and he's like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel good. I popped off, and absolutely, the solo lane is the red side of the map. The duo, they scaled up, and yeah, absolutely banged out at the end of that one.
And they are the X factor of Gravitas. You know, if Hayri's able to have a good game, they win those games. We've seen his Yasuo performance, last week as well, and this was a case of both of them having a good game, except that Order put a lot of strategy towards one of them in Hayri as well. Whether the Storm still existed. And for me, I look at Order and I feel like they can never go Ezreal Tahm-Kench bottom and not try and win through their bot side in some way. I think some kind of 2v2 that wins in an isolated sense is probably a better direction for them to look in future drafts. But at the end of the day, Gravitas, they played it well.
Yeah, and you kind of hinted when you were talking to Pabu, right? Like, this does shake up the ladder a lot, still pending what happens with the AV Chief game. For a bunch of the teams that we are talking about in like that middle section, Chief certainly not a part of it. Like, they're sitting at the top with Mammoth. They are pretty uncatchable for potentially like the likes of Order and Gravitas, who now after that are tied and dead tied, given it is now a 1-1. They have the head-to-head, so it is going to be like tracking in towards the last round robin, and like head-to-heads are really going to matter as we get to the end of the split.
Absolutely. Well done to Gravitas. I'm just happy to hear Juves' booming voice echo throughout the building in celebration as opposed to anger, and which is what he usually is.
He also won in the OCS this weekend. I don't know if you know, but he played.
He actually played. I did not know.
Yeah, their support is at an international tournament, like a university thing.
That's
and he's
awesome.
like, all right, guys, I'm stepping in. And then he signs his post off on Twitter, like, yeah, got my hat back in the ring. It was a bit of an off roll. And like, there's this, you're probably not going to know, but there's this like GG and WP, like you have to say the whole thing. It's like a little bit of like an OS meme. And he signs his post with GG and retired. And it just, I just lost it. So yeah, he's probably had a pretty good weekend.
God bless that boy. All right. Speaking of good weekends, you guys are putting a lot of work for the budget cosplay.
Ooh.
It's time to see the fruits of your cheap exploited labor. We got a stack of entries, so let's run through them. We're going to draw 4 winners.
Okay.
This is a game of skill in budget cosplay. We are the judges. We are the deciders. So let's get on with it. The first one comes in from Amy. Whew! There we go. And we got a Nico.
That looks not budget enough. That's my first thought. I'm just
I knew
kind
you
of
would
like,
say that.
I
There
was
you go.
like, oh, okay, like
Too much money?
yeah.
Is it?
Nico's
Could
too.
that not be arts and crafted from clothes at home?
I was about to say, do you understand what a budget is?
Yeah, 100%.
Budget does not equal shit.
Yeah, it just
Budget
means not
equals
spent money.
Not spent money.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly the inner workings of this design, but if that was made from like a shirt in the cupboard,
Yep.
that's really good.
If that was made from a shirt in the cupboard, it is really good. That is a good Nico. The next one comes in from Davo Erlo.
It's so weird judging bad things. Like
This is Astro Nautilus.
Oh my god.
That is incredible.
That is so good.
And
That
that
is
is
terrible.
budget.
That is, what do you mean?
That is
That
budget.
is so good.
I think if we're
Budget.
looking at like budget cosplays, that is a funny one, where the first one is a better one, right?
I like that the Maud hammer is like almost a diamond pickaxe.
Yeah.
It's just like
I-
what? Oh, it's Nautilus. I thought it was like
Nautilus.
Maud.
No, it's Nautilus.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
That,
yeah.
that means it is terrible. You don't even know what it is. How can you say it's good?
I realize why there's this split between Jake and this segment. It's because, and I think he has expressed this at some point, that he wants to see cheap, good cosplay, but we are delighted at the worse the cosplay, the better. Like the free and terrible will win you a headset.
I'm only
we don't
upset
want to
that-
see. We don't want to see like $10 and actually a surprisingly good use of talent. Yeah.
I'm only upset that Spawn doesn't get a vote because I feel like I'm in a similar position to Spawn right now with opinions, but I'll need to see.
We
more.
can, no, well, we all get a vote. We all can chime in.
I
It'll
don't
be-
want to
abstained.
vote.
He
This is-
abstained.
We've got
He has
Pulse is the
declared
tablet.
that he
Someone's
doesn't
he's
want to.
relegated himself to the desk. He has had some of
He has.
the biggest opinions. We're only 2 deep, but
All right, the next one, Desiree Crosby. This is Sona.
oh,
I mean, this will tickle Jake. This is what you want.
goody.
No, yeah, he's very tickled. That is such a tickled face. Well done, Desiree.
Kind of legit though, you
I'm
know.
not talking.
Okay.
Bryce has told me not to talk.
Kaka Language sent in this one. It's a Z.
Okay.
This one's pretty good.
That's
Printing
foil.
foil.
It looks like
Ah.
a steak knife, maybe.
I mean,
Oh.
we should. Is there foil in the eyes as well?
Yeah.
It's-
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. I do
we
get
get a
worried when
headband?
people start using real knives.
Can we zoom in?
Can we zoom in? Do we have
Do
Zoom
we have the
technology?
technology?
That no,
that something that
I'm
only
getting word
exists
that
in
that's
CSI?
LCK technology and we're not allowed to use
Damn
it.
it.
The next one.
Science
Okay.
Enhance.
Speedway.
So we all remember him from the last one. He's covered them up this time. Fedora the Explorer as Twisted Fate. I mean, that's a good shout.
See, the thing that I really rate in these budget cosplays is if you can take a splash art and like do the pose.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
like, be,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just like take a photo, but like be the character because
Yeah.
that's what makes a budget cosplay funny to me.
That's true, because he was imbuing this sort of like cocky personality of Twisted Fate. Yeah. And also he was imbuing Bryce by not ironing his clothes. The next one
It's
is...
just the sleeves, man. Come on. It's a linen shirt.
The next one comes in. So we've got two, and these exemplify the cheap but good
Okay.
one, and even come with an explanation. Jasmine Wheeler. Her first one is Annie. So this one is $13 of cheap satin,
Ooh.
a $10 party wig, socks and shoes from high school, and then old teddies, which she's got there behind her, are just a hop, skip, and jump to a brilliant cosplay. Hand sewing is not fun. Do not recommend. Thank you, Illusion Studio, for this photo. And then her second one is an Ash, and I think along the same lines of like relatively cheap satin. And then
Like less than $30 cosplays.
I mean, this is the kind of cosplay you'd be happy to go to a convention in.
yeah, right.
Well,
Not-
I
not-
think it
you-
looked
not-
like she was at a. She had a watermark. on the
Oh,
bottom.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Might have been at a
Well,
convention.
that's a good question. Like, are we asking
Is she
for
a
original
professional? Is she?
compositions?
Yeah. The one thing you can tell the second one, little budget, because she ran out of gold paint for the top part of the ash.
Yeah,
You
right.
can see. Yeah, so I respect that. I got a harsh critical eye. I'm looking for the budge in budget. The
You're
second
like,
one has it.
You were only allowed $2 worth of paint. I
Yeah.
don't care if you run out.
You need
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good
yeah, yeah,
budge
yeah.
in these cosplays. You need a good budge.
Joseph I believe. So this is a moo.
Does anybody recognize the brand? That's what I want to know.
That's terrible.
That's. I mean, I'll be honest. You could have wrapped that better.
Yeah, I feel like it costs nothing to care, Joseph. But I'll still rate
Idea's
that.
great.
Mercat sent in this one. It's Kitty Cat, and that is actually her cat. The white bit is her cat.
So it's basically just a wig with like an ear tiara.
Yeah, it's basically just two fake ears, and you picked up an animal, and
See, that's legit.
Yeah, I like that.
so the next series. Bonnie sent in potentially 12 entries.
Okay.
So I've picked 1, 2, 3, 4 of them to stand out. So the first one is her Annie. This is Bonnie Elaine's Annie. Like the definition of budget.
Yeah.
I think just picked up a bear. This is her brand, who I love.
Candles.
She's
for
just
all
added
candles.
candles.
Are they all fire based?
No, the next one is Soraka. Excellent work.
That is a huge banana.
That is an
That
enormous.
is enormous.
You're right. That is a massive banana.
That can't be a real banana.
That's an eating contest banana.
That banana should win a headset. That's an eating contest banana. And then the final one is Nidalee. So this one is taken outside in their murder hole, it looks like. Got the spear, and then she's also holding the cat for when Nidalee transforms. So she's got full beast mode. Well done, Bonnie, for all 4 of them. I mean, talk about stretching a budget.
yeah. It's a lot of effort into the
reusing
creative process of
candles.
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So much value out of each candle.
good work.
Gotta respect
Steph
it.
Abbey This one is regifted Amumu.
See, that's good.
That is
That
incredible.
legit.
That is exactly what you would find on your Christmas tree, just made into a cosplay.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fantastic.
That's wonderful.
The reason that deserves credit as well is I know where my Christmas decorations are, and they're a pain in the ass to get to.
Yep.
So the fact that you went and dug through all those boxes to get them out.
That's your back
Well
shed
done.
where the spiders are. You don't want to go out there till you have to.
That one was actually so good, I even did a reverse Google image search to make sure it wasn't just like a Reddit thing, and it checks out.
You reckon we've got any of those? Like somebody
I tried
it
to-
slipped under the radar.
I try to make sure,
Yeah,
but
okay.
yeah, there's probably been one.
Yeah.
NM
Fedora.
Oz, Namoz, I'm going to say. This is
Animals.
Annie.
Okay.
There you
okay.
go.
It's the
She's
onesie.
more Tibbers
Well,
than
it's
Annie.
Tibbers.
It is more Tibbers than Annie. That
Yeah.
is very true.
Yeah.
So you lose because you didn't even get the right champion. That is it. Rage Quite. Not even quit. I don't know if that's a spelling mistake.
That's
This
it,
is
really.
Yumi.
Quite.
Umos.
That's actually really.
Yeah.
That's really good. Actually, I like.
Who has cats here? Pulse would have a cat, like at some point in your life.
With my pet.
He also just
Literally
moved
never.
to
I'm actually
Australia.
definitely allergic to cats.
You have a cat?
Yeah,
How hard is it to get a
ragdoll.
cat to take a picture like that?
impossible.
Because yeah, I feel like that's part of it, right? Like that's effort. I've seen cats and they're
There
disgusting
are like
creatures.
really super domesticated ones that just chill. You know, like I've never owned one of those cats, but there are cats that just chill.
Yeah,
you can
right.
do what you want.
Maybe that's one of those chill cats. David Erlo comes
Mad
back.
chill.
Oh,
So I love this one. Let's bring it up. David Erlo, this is his Timo. He's got a tea bag strapped to his glasses and he's got a mustache. Timo.
right.
I mean, come on.
Did he
I
shave?
didn't even get
Did
that.
he shave for just that photo?
Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it? That would show real
It looks
commitment.
freshly shaved.
Yeah,
It does look
yeah.
it looks raw, I think is what we're trying to say. And then finally, the Gauze sent in this one. It's Jin.
What is that?
The
What-
shoulder?
Yeah, what
Yeah.
is that? Oh, that's
It's a
an
bath towel,
OPL.
right?
That's a lot of OPL photos behind
Is
him, by
that
the
a
way.
like cardboard thing or is that like paint?
It looks like a cardboard
Is it a
cutout.
mask?
It looks
or
like
is it-
cardboard.
No, because it looks like because you can tell because the eyes are like drawn onto the cardboard.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so no matter what it is, it certainly is budget.
But the shoulder is really tripping me out.
Jin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jin's got a jank shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fourth shot.
I did see
Yeah. He goes
Lady
back and
Dubsy
forth.
is in the chat saying hers didn't make it. I believe you were one of the people who just took a picture of their cat and said Yumi. We awarded one Yumi with the effort. So there you go. Okay, we need some winners. So can we just scroll through them quickly one more time?
Yeah.
And everyone just mark down. I've marked down who I think should
All
win.
right, I'm gonna quick write.
Yeah,
So this is
yeah.
Amy, this is her Nico. Up next, Davo Erlo with Astro Nautilus, which always gets a laugh.
funny.
Desiree Crosby had Sona. Kaka Language with Zed and the dangerous hands and the glinty eyes. Fedora the Explorer with Twisted Fate. Jasmine Wheeler's Annie. Jasmine Wheeler's Ash comes up next. We then have Joseph and Amumu. Mercat Kitty Cat. And then we had Bonnie's 4. 1, 2. That was Annie, Brand, Soraka, and Nidalee.
Yep.
And then we had Steph Abbey regifted a Mumu, which I believe we all think is top tier. NM Mouse, Annie, Rage Quite, Yumi, Davo Erlo with just
Sorry, bud. That's not
something
getting
real.
You've got a Nautilus.
I'm gonna be honest.
Believe in
that's
the
not it.
Nautilus. You've got one entry.
And then we had the Gauze with Jin. All right, how are we feeling?
Mumu number 1.
Mumu number 1. I mean,
Yep.
I think that's
The
pretty
regifted
unanimous.
To be
Mumu?
clear, not
Regifted
the
a Mumu.
toilet paper.
Yeah, yeah,
Mumu.
yeah, yeah,
Regifted
yeah.
a Mumu number 1
Regifted
for
a
sure.
Mumu.
Yep.
I have a soft spot for the Nautilus because I just can't not cackle when I see that. It's just because he's got the pose. I
Yeah.
love the step
You
back.
didn't know it was Nautilus. You
Yeah,
can't
but
say
who-
he has the pose when you didn't know
but
who it
it's
was.
just it's genuinely hilarious. I back that.
It's a good use of toilet paper rolls as well.
How are we
So-
going to do this?
How?
Are we going to tally votes? Like, what do we...
Well, I thought we just
discussing
do a
ideas.
discuss because so far I agree with that. What would you like to see awarded?
Well, I want the Amumu to win,
Yep.
But because we're doing a winner and a top 4,
Yep.
I don't know how to distribute the rest. I have like 5 that I've written down.
Okay, cool. Well, how about we do this? Because we are about to jump into the final game. We will go away. We'll deliberate. You guys will come back. You guys can add your votes at the end,
don't
and by
wanna
you
vote.
guys I mean pulse. And then we'll announce the winner. But I do think that we know who the winner is. But there's 3 others who also need some headsets. Which means we do need to head into the final game of the day. It is AV versus Chiefs. This is the one where there's a lot up for grabs in terms of the top of the ladder. But also now when we see with the Gravitas win that a loss for AV here is good news for Gravitas. So everyone except Jews, cross your fingers. Let's go to the Macca's Champ Select.
Thanks, Nick Boy. All right, let's get into our final game of the day here, Spawn.
Yeah. You know, normally
feeling?
I tell people that I have the greatest job in the world. And then we get to budget cosplay day with an order loss, and
I'm just surprised that that's where you draw the line.
I'm not so sure anymore.
Of like all the things that happened on this show that I've experienced over this split, and that's where you're like, no.
No, because it's not the... I want it to be very clear. It's not the cosplayers. It's the serial pests on the couch that I have an issue with. Like, if you don't recognize the cosplay, it can't win a cosplay contest. I just don't understand how that works.
I think that's just, we'll call that just Bryce error, right? Like, apart from that, I feel like the judging was pretty on point.
No, because Nick's in the same category. Rusty's the only one that has any idea what's happening. I don't even know whether Nick knows what Nautilus is.
Bryce was exiting the studio. Yeah, but I feel like that's a problem that could be associated with like any type of segment. It doesn't have to be like budget cosplay. It could be like,
No,
that's a recurring issue.
But
You
it's
know
the
what I mean?
most offensive one.
Right, I see. That's where it peaks for you.
Yeah, that's the peak offense. But this is a good game.
It is. Also a very important one, as the count pointed out. Avant versus Chiefs right here. I mean, Avant, we were just talking about them in the last game of how they're on very much a slide here. You know, it was a 1-1 week, a 1-1 week, and now like a 0-2 week, and it's slowly trending downwards. Whereas the Chiefs, you know, like very similar story to Mammoth, just right at the top of the board, doing very well for themselves. We've got a couple bands, Nautilus, Olaf, Sejuani, Silas, Elise, and Camille coming out from the Chiefs. And then first pick, Karma.
And it's going to be Rumble just immediately locked
Again.
in here. We've talked about the fact that Rumble, not through his own fault, but through the buffs of other champions, should start to drift down in priority. However, for teams like the Chiefs, it seems that it's going to be very high still. Very interesting that with Ezreal still available, the Chiefs just go towards Lucian, because every game that Ezreal has been available, Raze has played it.
Yeah.
When it gets to his pick. I think he has like 8 or 9 Ezreal games, and he's only
many.
played 13. But this is certainly a good brawling composition so far from the Chiefs. And if Avant win this game, they go to 8 wins. That means that I think Direwolves are currently at 6, and both Order and Gravitas are at 5.
Yeah.
So there's only 7 games left in the season after this one. If you're 3 games ahead with 7 games left, you're pretty confident that that's enough to get it done.
Yeah. It's
however,
closer in the clear.
Yeah, might not be the case. So this is a very important game, just to go back to why we keep talking about the standings. This is the last game of the second round robin.
I mean, it's also like, to reiterate that point, like today was what, a Legacy dropping out of contention, right? Like as soon as you start hitting weeks where it's just like, and now you're out, or this team's in, you know, like that's when it starts really mattering. Every game counts. The Chiefs, though, you know, like I feel like this is just more of the same, right? Like you're totally right. I look at Raze and Ayla, I'm just like, Ezreal looks, you know, like they're almost just synonymous with like the champions at this point, but. Yeah, going for this Rumble once again. We saw them pull that out actually against Legacy. We also saw them pull out double top laners and a very big Riven in the mid lane. So actually going to have Claire back into the mid lane today.
And Claire also plays Riven, for those that don't know. Claire actually kind of made his name as a Riven bully in solo queue. Played a lot of it mid lane as well as top. So interested to see whether he brings it out. He's a little bit older now, but he used to be a part of the group that, you know, young mechanics, max players. Really, really explosive player still, I think, in his own right.
I mean, it's funny, like in esports in general, it's always been like the conversation of like, if you're over 19, is that it? Have you just lost the mechanics now? And I feel like there are some players that have definitely just like stepped out of that and said like, no, you know, like that's not really the same thing in very much like a cerebral game that a lot of esports are. But I do think it's still a conversation that a lot of people talk about, you know, like there are very young players who just have, you know, abilities that just kind of ascend a lot of other players in the professional level.
I think the reality of the situation is when you're a young player, like when you're Thien, you get ganked, you don't see the gank coming, you have to turn it 3v1. The reality of the situation is Swiper's probably not there in the first place, so doesn't have to 3v1 himself out of the situation, right? So it's like, wow, he's so good mechanically, but like I'm sure that Volt sits down with him and goes, now very good 1v3. Like that is a great play to be able to turn around.
You shouldn't be there.
But look at where the map is. Look at where we're playing towards. Like, you should not be in this scenario because you're a 900 gold shutdown, and we don't want to give that to a carry, right? So I think, like, that's where, like, you know, Faker, oh my god, he used to be a mechanical monster. Now he's just a really smart player. And sure, he still has very good mechanics, but he's not in those scenarios all that often.
The better players aren't there in the first place. And, you know, like, I've seen this storyline so many times with different players. You know, I think back to, like, Jackulov when he burst onto the scene. It's just like, wow, look at his mechanics. And it's just like, well, he's always just by himself without his support. And you're like, what's
he literally
going on?
R's into people as Nisa and needs to flash a skill shot. Like, sure, that's great that he can flash it on, like, no reaction, but, like, stop R-ing at people, Jackulov, and costing us games at MSI.
Yeah, and it's like cocky play, which is fun to watch, but does cost games. And we do have the rest of these compositions rounded out. We have a couple interesting picks which I'm going to highlight. Kiana coming through here for Claire. Obviously, great pick right now. I would love to see more Kiana. We've seen a couple bans today as well. And this is something that we haven't seen, at least I haven't seen in a while. Cassiopeia into mid lane, but it is Shock piloting it.
Yeah, exactly right. And we saw Shock play it actually bottom lane the whole time when Amiru was playing mid lane at the start of the split. Also, Gragas support. First one of the split, I think. Has big pick in Europe right now. Everyone loves the Gragas support. Really good, actually, into a couple of the picks on Avant right now. Really good at body blocking the Kennen away from the fight. If this is going to be an AP Kennen, very good at blocking Miru's Jarvan away from the fight as well. So see how Ayla pilots that. When you're a support, you can afford to be a little bit more liberal with your life. I think it's fair. Maybe not as liberal as Jake last game, but you know, a little bit more like play up and in your face as opposed to jungle, which is going to be playing AP and probably needs to do some damage. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how Ayla takes this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we've got Swiper on this Rumble. I feel like his last performance was pretty good, to be honest. We definitely warranted another game on this pick. On opposite side, you know, definitely looking towards this Cassiopeia in a very different environment. You know, we all remember the days of like Cassiopeia being a very dominant mate back in like, you know, season 2 to 4 territory, you know, like many years ago.
Cassiopeia.
Oh, I mean, I always don't want to think about those days, but yeah, used to be very much the queen of the mid lane. But as we get into game, got Cyclone with us. How are you today?
Yeah, not bad.
So how are you just feeling about this league in general right now? Because we're into week 7. You know, this is the final game of week 7, and it feels like every single game counts, like it definitely did for Legacy earlier today, knocked out of like playoff contention, for example. But you know, what's the mood in the Chiefs camp?
In Chiefs, Avant.
In Avant's camp.
Right,
I was looking at Chiefs, and I was like, just said it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously every game is super important at this stage because the league is so competitive. This split, we're just kind of trying to really focus on what's working for us and get rid of what's not, and just keep looking forward. Obviously pretty disappointed with the results the last couple of weeks, but you can't do much except keep practicing and work on it.
Just quickly, that's a Predator on Karma, so watch out for that. But Karma, is it the new Morgana? A couple of teams now playing it in like 4 different positions, and you guys have picked it up in AD carry / marksman territory. Is this champion really that versatile?
Well, it's just good at killing waves.
Okay.
You know, like you just press R and Q and you get to not play the game. It's great. So I guess the answer is probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was Morgana's strength, right? You just pressed W on a wave, ran away, and the wave was dead. Want to talk to you a little bit about kind of how you cope with the slide, because I know you're there for a little bit more of the, you know, people coaching as opposed to necessarily like the hardcore League of Legends stats coaching. So your team's obviously on a small slide at the moment. Like, what does that mean for Cyclone? Does that change your day up at all?
Yeah, I mean, I've started calling myself the mood dude.
Yep.
As my role. And I think the main thing is just being really sensitive to what the player's emotional needs are. You know, and the thing is that they're a whole human. You know, they're not just a League of Legends player, so they might have IRL stuff going on that can just randomly affect them. You know, they could have all sorts of things. You know, they might have a bad sleep or whatever. And so I guess the main thing is just giving them the opportunity to be heard, and especially on teams that are really competitive, sometimes can lack some of the people skills to navigate those conversations on their own, or maybe they just don't happen because people are too busy focusing on what they themselves need to work on, and they kind of forget to like zoom out a little bit. So I try to focus on, as you say, the people stuff.
And you're the first person we've been able to speak to today, really, that I know has a job outside of League of Legends.
That's true.
Advice for job interview. Go.
Yeah, right. Well, don't tell them that you have no weaknesses. I remember having a conversation about that with someone recently. Just be really honest about like where you're at and what your goals are, and show up prepared.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think preparation personally would be my answer. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck in the game.
All right, thank you. Looks like we need it.
Yeah.
First blood went down during that interview. I saw Johnny look at me and go, with his eyes, do I keep talking through this or can I run away? And I was like, keep talking. Yeah, I agree. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performances is generally what I go for as well. But that was a really good prepared gank because, you know, you see straight away, skipping the Raptor camp means that you stay very healthy on Lee Sin.
Yep.
Then straight into a bottom side clear into a bottom lane gank means that only is there way before Miro can be, because Miro is going to do a complete bottom side clear. That's what you always do on Jarvan. Into top side control. And I think that that's a good read from the Chiefs. And earlier today, Babip gave only the best jungler not called Babip award, I think is what the official title is, and certainly seems to be the case here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and obviously turned into a first blood. It did go to Ayla though. Would have probably liked it onto the AD carry, but still, only looking to repeat the gank, walking through this blue, or walking through his pink ward.
Oh.
And yeah, only will not execute on the gank. Maybe thinking the jungler's around, and we'll just take the ward and back on off. But as constant pressure to the bottom lane starting to add up, we'll still get the push though. Aldaric and Gun grab.
That was a perfect example of a trimmed wave, by the way. So this wave, it still is a freeze if the Chiefs want it to be a freeze. But did you see how they just used a couple abilities to make sure it wasn't heavy stacking into their turret? Because what the Chiefs actually thought is, as soon as they don't back away when, you know, only shows on that ward is, Miro is here somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, he has to be. Otherwise, they're running for the hills right now. And obviously, Avant can play with that lack of information. But they just continually holding the wave out the front of the turret. This one will now start to pull back, which is why Raze drags it back in for a little bit more of a quicker push. And that's what I mean. Like, this is how you stop yourself being dove in, you know, OPL scenarios, is by being able to trim that wave before it hits your tower.
Yeah, make sure it doesn't crash and even give the opportunity in the first place. You know, and I think like a lot of our conversation, you know, the last like half hour just been to do with like preparation and like what you do beforehand and like never being in the wrong place to open up a play, you know, like just being completely clear of that. And I think in League of Legends and actually pretty much every sport, like a lot of these things are just unnoticed because they don't happen, right? And then like they're never talked about because something else is happening on the map. But like all of the missed opportunities, things that don't happen, were the result of good work and diligence. Like sometimes you'll see a 0-0, 30-minute game, and you're like, wow, this has been a slow game. But like it's been constant back and forth of, you know, plays being, the steps being shut down before you even get to step 4, which is the execution phase.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've just been told that Aladaric started the wrong item, I think, in the laning phase. I think he went with the spellbook. Now he's being caught out.
Yep, well, undertow to not safety. That'll be body slam through Flash and Aladaric low and taken down by only, opening up another kill for the Chiefs.
I mean, 2 summoner spells used there, but look how much it buys them on bottom side control. They know that Miru's playing towards top lanes, and I think teams have figured this out about Avant, that they play very heavy towards Shock and Chippies. So they're using Ayla and only to control this bottom side, and that kill actually has opened up a 20 CS advantage and a couple of turret plates potentially going down here as well, Pulse, for Raze and Ayla. I mean, Swiper is one of the best weak side top laners in the league. Very happy to be put on his island, very happy to fall 100 CS behind on Rumble. He's not going to give a damn, to be honest. And this is a very impressive early game so far for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it just looks clean, you know, and like, I think that as a team, we've spoken so much about like, look how good like Mammoth are at like their particular set of skills. Same for like Bombers, but Chiefs have just like for me, just kind of silently just been picking up wins, like looking just very like solid League of Legends, just picking up. It's like, wow, that's a great performance there from Claire. Like, and then you have those pop-off games from someone like Tien, right? But outside of that, like, it's just good League of Legends that we're seeing from this squad, and it's just these small victories that accrue, and then eventually just overwhelm their opponent. And this game looking very similar: 2 kills, you know, a Mountain Dragon to their name, and a great start to the game.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I mean, in the mid lane, Shock has opened up a big CS lead for himself, so still some positives, but this is what you expect in Cassiopeia into a melee assassin. And we'll see whether this can continue once Claire is able to drag him to a side lane, because that's kind of when Kiana should be able to take off. So, you know, still certainly some areas. Gang top lane.
Top lane, though, only. Looking for a potential opportunity to throw out that Q. Lands onto Miru, but I don't think he's potentially looking for this play with Chippies underneath tower. Did already use the ultimate, so good defusal there from Avant, but still pushing this wave into tower and now access into the jungle of Miru. Swiper revealing out the jungle. And a lot of pings into this mid lane. They're trying to find this opportunity
Teleport
to react.
coming in
It's going
as
to be a
well. This is
teleport out from Avant. Yeah, opening up with the ultimate there onto Swiper. He's going to just take this one as only maybe able to get away. Bone skill from Aladark is fantastic in the pit. Will secure the Lee Sin kill. And the same thing onto the Rumble. 2 kills for Avant.
And that's a really nice decisive play from Avant Gaming, because they were falling behind. But this is a problem with battle warding, right? We spoke about the priority that only was gaining his players, but he wasn't getting any farm because Miru was hard farming his jungle. That means he was a level down, means he doesn't have the kick to be able to escape in a scenario like that. Very decisive play. That is teleport burn. That is ultimate burn out of Miru, but they are able to pick up the 2 kills. They do, however, lose another 2 plates bottom lane, and Raze is in time bomb territory. Like, he is 36 CS up and 4 plates over his direct opponent.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, like, Razor's just being able to just sit in lane, and I think it was, I mean, look at that gold right now, 2,500 gold, and I actually think this was very similar to yesterday, where nice dodge out there from Aladoric, as Ayla was looking for that.
That was actually a great change of direction from Alador, because you know he has it trained on Raze there to try and stop the recall. But the fact that he was able to actually change it onto Ayla, pick himself up that bone, actually he doesn't have Aftershock, he has himself the Predator, so it wasn't the Aftershock. And I'm really interested in this Karma build. Because he has Predator
Chalice
on Karma.
And Predator.
And he's got CDR boots Chalice. I don't think I've ever seen this. Chalice, we do see.
Yes, of course.
CDR boots, much more rare, because Karma's build generally has something like an Ardent in there, which is, you know, another 10 cooldown reduction. Very easy to accrue support items with cooldown reduction on it as Karma. You know, not to mention, you know, probably going to go at some point towards Zhonya's or Banshee's Veil. You know, that has cooldown reduction on it as well. So CDR boots, very interesting. Predator, super interesting.
Yeah, it indicates to me that, you know, he will change his item build on second item, right? Like something that doesn't contain cooldown reduction. So he's trying to max out early. But, you know, in contrast to something like Sorks, anything like that, or a defensive item, it's not immediate combat stats. And Claire, getting caught out here, whereas out the ultimate, big stun comes through, only backing away though as the teleports come across once again from Avant, but they've caught the Gragas, and Ayla, all by his lonesome, will be execute out from Aladoric.
Yeah, I mean, really nicely played from Aladoric there, because he was just able to keep them in. This is also going to be Herald drop mid lane. You can see rotation coming across from Swiper. Might be a little bit late, however. Bottom lane turret was already broken, and this could be a genuine 4v4. Carmen not here.
Swiper just walking on into the mid lane, pretty much cop all of this damage immediately, throws out the equalizer before he dies though, and Chiefs are going to use this opportunity to chase down the rest of Avant, who are retreating into their jungle. Chippies backing away, nice sidestep on that one, but only chasing down Miru, doesn't land the Q. They are still able to sweep up this cannon.
Yeah, and they're still looking for Miru here. I think, however, he is going to be out of range. Claire may be looking for a dive, however.
Has the health, also has Ignite. Lee Sin will at least reveal his position, takes the first tower shot, flash into the execute. Claire, very clean.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the very nice tank of creeps there from Only will mean that he also stays alive. That is a well-executed dive. However, now Aladoric here.
Oof. I mean, undertow into Ignite. That's going to be a kill.
Yeah, it certainly is. However, that is a very good diffusal of a tricky situation there. Because you have a look at it, I think Swiper actually must have missed path here, because he just walked into them without dropping ultimate and took all of his health. Like, he's done nothing in that fight. That is a little bit of a whoopsie there from Big Doss. However, Very nice play here from Raze, getting over this wall and just, I mean, legitimately 1v2ing at this stage, just doing so much damage. Obviously, Claire, big beneficiary of this fight because he did pick up 2 kills, which, as he's 30 CS behind, is going to become a massive deal.
Yeah, has just managed to reach the stage where he's picked up Tiamat. Huge deal, and also looking towards his first lethality item as well. Just probably about 500 gold from that. Pretty much the difference between CS. Crab's going to use this opportunity to move towards the bottom side of the map. First dragon is Infernal, so you can see the setup already from AV. Ayla walking towards it, has been spotted out. Bone Skewer already throws him out. As the ultimate coming out from the Gragas, is buying a lot of time for Claire with a flank and only chasing down onto Aladoric. Big kick back to the team. Gunkrab goes to do his own stopwatch. And Ayla backing away from this. Here's the ultimate through from the Rumble, but not in the best of places. They're already retreating. And no kills.
Please, observers, get me a replay of that, because that would have been Claire cleaning up the team fight, but he ulted the wrong wall, I think, Pulse. Went around blue buff wall as opposed to that little wall that everyone is standing next to. Chiefs still looking to be able to pick up the Infernal Dragon for themselves, which is a win, but that should have nearly been a wipe coming in.
It could have been way more. Yeah, I didn't catch it, but yeah, super unfortunate if it did go that way. Just misinput, unfortunately. Aladoric using this camouflage just to harass and annoy right now. The Chiefs getting themselves an Infernal. Big deal for them. Looking pretty good in this game so far. Even though it is 5-5 in kills, I feel like Avant have had some very good counterpunches. But in that one, Chiefs getting a good advantage. So let's take a look at this fight.
So this is really important. The Ayla is able to proc, and there it is. Went around the wrong wall. So if that hits the little wall where Ayla is standing, I think that is 4 members stunned. I think 1 person got stunned off the Kiana ult, but no one else. And Swiper's ultimate at that stage becomes a little bit too opportunistic because they're too far away to really be able to be caught up to. But certainly still Chiefs in the driving seat, right? It's amazing that you get to make mistakes like that and still, you know, be 1,000 gold up with so much pressure over the map. However, Swiper now being caught out.
Had the cushion, unfortunately, into his passive, so completely silenced from using any invisibilities, and while he is in that state, Chippies and Aladoric will clean up the kill.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, that could be bottom lane turret as well, so it's going to be a trader up here for the Avant Gaming lineup. You know, they picked themselves up the turret here, as well as the additional kill. With that, Shock is not in threat of being dove because Kiana has to head into the bottom lane, so really good play here from Avant. You know, as you said, some counter punches, to be sure.
And Raze, top lane, opening up into Gunkrab, and that's just a straight-up combo, 100 to 0.
I don't know whether you saw that, but Raze right now is 70 CS up. But more importantly, he's also about 3 levels up. Gunkrab is his direct opponent. That isn't a support Karma. That is a marksman Karma. And not really going all that well. I mean, he may as well be a support because he has the lowest gold on his team.
That's over 3,000 difference between him and Raze at 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I will also say at the same time, like much like the game yesterday, Raze has just kind of been like a Roomba. He's just been like sucking up minions all over the map. Has been also finding plates. Bottom lane, this is not a replay. This is him throwing out the ultimate and will die from the execute from Aladoric, but this time there is a different ending as Only is coming into the bottom lane with Ayla and Raze in tow. Teleport immediately from Avant may defuse and actually come out as yet another counterpunch from them. Miro turns the corner into an immediate Cataclysm onto Raze. Ayla wants to re-engage though, Only jumps in, but he's dead, gets the first execute, finds the second as well. X marks the spot, double kill for Pyke.
Beautiful play there from Aladoric to be able to secure both kills because that is so much additional gold right now going over to the Avant Gaming lineup. You can see, like, that's a 2,500 gold swing from 2 people being able to be picked up. And I mean, I said Swiper wouldn't be in that scenario in the first place. Well, a couple of times this game, he's proven me wrong. I mean, this is DOS. Had a good mid lane performance yesterday, but coming off back-to-back rough top lane performances as he is now, you know, 0-4-0 and kind of being a little bit of a non-factor this game.
Yeah, I will say this is kind of Avant fighting with a bit of a vengeance, to be honest. Like, yesterday, honestly, like, they were fighting scared, you know? This was not like an Avant team that, like, I was used to watching whatsoever, but this is overnight rejuvenation, which is something that is, like, you can't necessarily say about every team. You know, you look towards like, what are they going to do next week? If that was a performance on Sunday and this was on a Saturday and this was a Friday, and we're like, okay, well, clearly they've made big changes. But it almost seems like a mentality shift, and that's why it was so fantastic hearing from Cyclone at the start. You know, it's just like talking about player mentality, how important that is to manage, and what that can do for a team.
Yeah, and I think coaching the person is really important and an overlooked skill at times, you know? We expect players to be a little bit more robotic than they necessarily are. Yeah. But, you know, being able to re-motivate them, get them back on the same page, realign a team to the same goal is a really valuable skill.
Yeah, I mean, personally, to that point, like, I think it's very much like a... There's layers, right? There's like what the viewers see, what like we see as talent, and then what like the players and the team and everybody in the org see. And I think that like the biggest breakthrough moment for, I would say, the public was Faker when he was crying on the world stage. You know, didn't manage to get the championships, and it was just in the booth. And I think that was the first time where it was like, wow, Faker's actually not this android meant to play League of Legends and win every game ever. You know, he's a real human being. And it's the first time we really saw that. In the mid lane, though, Aladoric getting kicked into the enemy team, and that was just too clean, actually, here from the Chiefs. Turn this one right back around. Claire's got his second. Chippy's and Miru re-engaging now underneath this tower. It's a 2 versus 5 before Shot gets here. That was basically a suicide there from the Jarvan, and Chippies will also follow. Shock now getting chased down. Double E comes in from Swiper. 4 kills out from the Chiefs.
And this just shows how scary the Chiefs lineup is, right? Because this has been Avant, you know, kind of looking at the side lanes, dictating the pace of the game. The Chiefs know the right play. They group mid, and they're able to pick up 4 quick kills. It's going to be double turrets as well. And they re-establish that lead that they had earlier in the game. It's also going to be the 3rd Dragon picked up for Only here. They're such an explosive team, and I use that word every time I cast a Chiefs game, I feel like, at the moment, because they just know that when they go for their plays, they have to go fast, and they do it so well.
Great, zoning away Aladoric here. Just going to go for this Dragon. It's kind of a weak contest. Maybe they can pick up a kill here. AV looking for it, jumping onto Ayla. Oh, good bone skewer into the undertow and Shock. So they will get a kill in exchange for that one.
And it also should be some tempo into mid lane turret here, right? I mean, maybe even some Baron and topside control. There's a whole of Only's topside junglers up. They know he's been bottom for a very long time. And this is kind of one of those tempo windows that you talk about a lot. I mean, if there had been those 2 people, instead of taking mid lane turret, disappearing into top fog of war, all of a sudden Raze doesn't get that red buff. But it's not going to be the case. So once again, good counter punch, but this is just an impressive play. Like, you talk about decisiveness, right? That's Only solo styling on. Claire then follows suit. Certainly didn't need the cast there from Ayla, but, you know, the turn immediately after, like a really good equalizer now. Say what you will about Swiper, he is untiltable, like I know for a fact, and, you know, had a major role in that team fight.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's such a big deal from moment to moment in a game. You know, someone can be 0-4 and then perform exactly the same as they did when they stepped foot onto the Rift is not something that every single player can do. You know, it's something that's built up over time.
Choo Choo's talks about it. Swiper is one of the only players that he's ever known that doesn't show emotion like during a game that is negative. So like he always gives the example that they were playing in Vic in one of the Origin games and Swiper died and he just saw Swiper clench his fist. And like obviously like internally very frustrated, but then like actually start shot calling, you know, about what the counter punch and what the positive play off his death is, and you know, making sure that he's timing the summoner spells that we use, like the ultimate, making sure he's communicating to his team. Actually, hold that thought.
Yeah, because this is a big flank coming in, but the grounded onto Claire was huge there, and Gun Crab taking a lot of damage from this culling. They're going to be pulling in Only though, out for the assassinate. Shot gets the kill onto that one, and Miru secures it. Another kill, this time over to Avant.
Yeah, and once again, a very nice counterpunch there from Avant. You know, we keep saying it, but it seems that the team that goes for the play actually ends up losing a lot of these fights at the moment. And, you know, just going back towards it, like, that's one of those skills that I think people actually look for in up-and-coming pros, like that really strong mentality and knowing that they are resilient. And, you know, very impressive to see out of one of the veterans of the OPL.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as much as we talk about mechanics, you know, like the personality of a player, what they bring to a team environment is also very important. Mid lane, Avant pushing forwards, and Avant kind of trying to get into their jungle, but Claire's just waiting in brushes, looking for a potential assassinate. Aladoric chasing down river, though. We'll clear out this ward. And now we've got the Baron set up from both sides. As much as I would like to explore this topic, we do have a bit of contest on our hands here. Bottom lane, Swiper clearing out this minion wave, and AV are just searching, you know, every time he sees his Pike, just in range of Bone Skewers.
Yeah, and this is an on-hit cannon that like is grouping because they know that their strength right now is around Aladoric and those resets. He's like 6, 2, and 4 on the Pike. They need to keep the game chaotic. If they go towards the side lane again, especially onto Swiper's side lane, like Baron becomes a real objective for the Chiefs. Miru face checking.
Yep, immediately caught out by the damage there from the Kiana.
We're seeing a lot more tank Jarvan come back as opposed to the full AD Jarvan that we're seeing.
True.
And I think that that's one of the good examples of why it's coming back, like a much safer face checker in these scenarios where you need a frontline tank. No one else is going to be able to do the job on this team. Versus on the flip side, you genuinely don't have a tank for the Chiefs right now. It just means that the burden of execution is so much higher.
Yeah, Chiefs very much with the control of this area, though. Have just swept out all of the wards. And AV kind of getting just inched back ever so slightly. The ward line just sinking further and further into their jungle. Then Crab controlling this mid wave, just clearing it out. Bottom lane. Chibi's clearing this one away as well. It does have teleport for a fight. This is the on-hit cannon we were talking about. Also checking in with Karma's build. Just want to see what she's going for. Goes with the A for Wisp.
So that is going to be certainly into... Oh, hold the thought.
Sidestep from Only.
Very nicely done. Also
Sensor.
just going to be able to dance around.
Differential sentence.
Ardent Sensor, 100%. Reason is kind of strange. No one really benefits from Ardent Sensor on that team. Cassiopeia doesn't want it. Pike probably doesn't want it. Maybe on hit Cannon wants it, but does he want it enough for you to build it on Karma?
Probably not.
I would say, you know, maybe a more traditional build of Ludens into Death Cap this game. Having a much bigger shield impact for your Pike, for your Cassiopeia to be able to frontline into a very damage-focused comp would be maybe where my head would be at.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering what was coming, you know, like seeing the boots specifically was just kind of like the, you know, the warning signs of like something different was going to happen. But yeah, we'll see how it pans out for them. Definitely not to say that, you know, Cannon does a small amount of damage, but I'm just looking at the Chiefs right now and it feels like they're a team that's very much just online, you know, like Rumble 2 items, like has hit a perfect point in the game, jungle, mid lane the same story, bottom lane 3 items, like, you know, this is a team that's very much ready to fight.
Yeah, Raze is really the danger man right now when you have a look at it. And I mean, you would juxtapose that with like kind of Aladoric and Shock are the 2 danger targets on the side of Avant Gaming. You know, Shock with 3 items on Cassiopeia already is just, not only does it put a lot of pressure on you on team fights to be able to blow him up at the start of the fight, but also around Baron. You know, this build on Cassiopeia destroys Baron. And certainly something the Chiefs need to be aware of, because they're out of position for 2 seconds and they will lose the Baron buff.
Yeah, that's actually something you kind of forget about when you're playing against Cassiopeia, but she was the original queen of just taking Baron very quickly, you know, like those are the compositions before like Blade the Ruin King even existed. Like Cassiopeia was the pick that would nuke it down. Karthus was the same thing. But yeah, we'll have to be very wary of that with that E-spam. And complete darkness right now into the jungle of AV, but similar story for them. Just not a lot of vision because both teams just cleared it out.
Look at Aladoric. He's been spotted, I think, here. Is Claire going to chase him?
He would have to stop his recall. The rest of the team from AV is on their way up, so it would be a messy endeavor for the Chiefs, and just choose to opt out of that play. Could have turned out very well, but it felt like a very risky play to make in the first place. And we'll just clear out these wards and back away. We've been in this kind of like, you know, this tango for a good couple minutes now.
So it's funny, right? Because I always say that once Baron spawns, Baron control becomes the objective early on in the game. It's not actually the Baron itself. It's the control over the area and the ability to force mistakes. It's not until about 25 to 27 minutes that Baron itself becomes a real objective, right? I would say right now, you know, it's actually a very real possibility for both teams. One of the underrated parts of Lee Sin's kit with this build is the fact that he's got 30% cooldown. And that means that his W shield, which you max second, is just not on a cooldown at all. It means you can 2-man Baron with something like Illusion very, very easily. On the flip side, you know, can say the exact thing about Cassio. And wow, Ray's just bought an outright IE.
Just straight up with no components?
I think so. He's just gone from being a 3-item carry
Yeah, no, you're right.
to a 4-item
Because we just checked in with him and he had 3 items and no components. That's pretty insane. That's not a small chunk of changes to be carrying around with you.
7-ish thousand gold ahead. 6.5.
Do we even have a name for what happens if you double your opponent's CES, like score? Or like...
I don't know.
And gold. Oh, Miru doesn't manage to get the flag and drag. Not caught out on this one. Jumps over the wall, uses Cataclysm, but caught out by Ayla. Great reaction time on that one, and Aladoric backing away.
Yeah, and I mean, with Jungler dead, only actually in a little bit of trouble, will be able to get to safety. Yep. This should be Baron started up here for the Chiefs.
Should be. Clear up to the top side. And spot Aladoric as he just turns the corner, immediately jumps on towards him. Good undertow stun. But with Claire just blocking this choke point, very difficult to do anything, though he just jumps in and just instantly dies to Aladoric. Gets the first reset here, and Shock now chasing him down. This is not a small amount of damage coming out from Cassiopeia. Baron's already dead, though, so it's about maintaining these buffs. Swiper just rocketing to safety. The rest of the team low, but they should be able to recall off this one. He's opened up enough distance. Oh, depends where he goes, though. He chooses to go left, and Aladoric just spotted him around the corner.
But I mean, this is a big deal about keeping up out of turrets, right, at this stage of the game. They just went to the tier 1 top, which is still available, and recalled. Any other game, like, you're caught up there, you're on the wrong side.
All the way back to base.
Yeah, you have to run all the way back to base. Everyone has to go Swiper's direction. So, you know, this is just the earlier work of the Chiefs Esports Club coming up trumps. But I mean, Aladoric is doing ridiculous damage at this point. He one-hit a mid laner in that fight. That's a big deal. Cannot be understated, especially given the reset nature of Pyke's kit. So gold lead is non-existent still. It's just about where it's held, you know, supports versus that 80 carry role.
It's crazy. You know, like Pyke, I mean, in a state like this, for the rest of this game, you know, it's kind of like a permanent thing now that, like, if he gets that first reset, he can just start chaining, you know, and that will never go away. Like, Chiefs can be, like, 8,000 gold ahead, and, like, there's still the threat of Pyke just happening to hit one of your members.
Also, without any kind of armor being built up, Pyke has a real shot at initiating some of these fights with ult into his E. Like, at level 16, if he gets there, it nearly becomes worthwhile just ulting 4 members for the damage at the start of the fight.
Right. And it's just so threatening, you know, watching Aladoric just with like 900 move speed just rocket towards somebody, throws out the equalizer to zone them away. And Chiefs have just total control over this bottom lane tower now. Pretty much the free objective. Just have to pay an equalizer for it now, pushing underneath this next turret. Using the next ultimate. Miru attacking this one up, and that was half helping 2 members on the side of AV. Chiefs tapping away at this turret. Do manage to take it down. Now moving on to the inhibitor, this slow roll. I don't think they're really running out of steam. They're able to keep tapping away. Just need a couple more hits or just defend this cannon minion, which will just take it down naturally, but Rage is able to step forwards, knock it over, and start rotating towards this mid lane.
Yeah, and great patience shown there from the Chiefs because they had only prepping mid lane, which meant that if anyone got hooked there, it could have legitimately been the start of a fight they did not want to take. Instead, just millimeters, multiple times away from that hook happening. And they now break the base in 2 positions.
Mid lane inhibitor gonna go down. Soft initiate, throws out the ultimate, finds Raze, takes down the AD carry. Good here from Avant if they can find anything else, and do manage to protect their inhibitor as well.
I mean, that's a major shutdown as well coming across, and I think it was Shock that picked that one up with some poison on the back end of it. So that's a huge gold injection coming across, probably going to be the finished up Void Star for him. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even though it looks like Chiefs in firm control, they've got 4 dragons. They've picked up the only Baron. They're 7 turrets to 3, and they've broken the base in 2 positions. It's a, like, 1,000 gold lead. It's nothing right now. Like, Avant Gaming still certainly have the combat stats to be able to fight this game.
100%. You definitely saw Raze on the player camp rattled from that kill, and Aladoric, I mean, like, it cannot be understated how much he was doing in this game. That was after a Bone Skewer as well. Like, he's just really just feeling this game straight up. In 31 minutes, AV can definitely still take a fight. Middle lane inhibitor staying alive as well. And we're definitely going to see a second Baron in this game, that's for certain. 2 minutes until that one. And it's back to setup, back to square one.
And I mean, with bottom lane being where it isn't that much of a major deal for Avant right now because their on-hit cannon does deal with side lanes, like, really simply. He's got himself an Infinity Edge. He's going towards another BF sword. This is a guy that's going to just chew through the creep waves, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he's not overall concerned with exactly what's happening right now. In fact, it's just more farm for him. He's already 70 CS over Swiper at the moment, so, you know, probably even happy that he gets to pick up this additional farm. However, it does become a major problem if you cannot get control around the Baron because he doesn't have teleport available.
Yeah. Continuously, though, we just see Raze in a situation where he's able to collect everything. And it's just like very consciously set up by the Chiefs. Like the fact that we're close to, I mean, that's like a double Flame Horizon, right? In like the bottom lane. Almost a 400 CS at like 32 minutes is just like insanity.
Oh, and someone just hit stopwatch.
I think it was Aldoric.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely unfortunate as Pyke is like the member you're looking towards in this fight. You can only hope that the Chiefs didn't see it. Raze looking towards Chippy, gets a bit of DPS down. Chiefs using the stuff there from Claire to push forwards onto this inhibitor, but AV are scary enough now that they can kind of stand in front of the inhibitors and say, try it, Chiefs. See what you've got and fight in our base. I mean, that's basically you know, a bunch of towers and a bunch of gold for us if you go for this, and the longer they wait, the closer Baron is to spawning, so Chiefs losing a fight here into Baron could be disastrous. Looking at Bone Skewer, doesn't quite find it. Going to regen on the back half of this one, Aladoric, back to essentially full HP.
But look at that Rylai slow and the amount of zone control it has. Hook does land this time.
Ayla jumps in, but now he's caught and stunned down. Miru taking more damage. The Gragas, though, has to back away. He's essentially out of the fight, and Chiefs will use the opportunity to take the inhibitor.
Yeah, they certainly do, and that now is second inhibitor down. Should be a collapse back towards the Baron area. However, there is still one ward up and available. See whether they sweep it on the way in. They do actually find it. This pressure now is so immense from the Chiefs. To face check this brush is so scary.
Blue Trinket's down, though. AV do have at least a bit of information, enough to push up to the pit, but the Baron's already dead. Did he want to go for this fight, though? Shock pushing forwards. There's the ultimate going through, and Aladoric just disappears. Raze just knocks him down where he stands, and now this is a potential re-engage. The equalizer's good onto Shock and Miru, but can't quite catch up. And Raze chasing down Gunkrab. Does he have the movement speed? Yes, he does, but I saw Aladoric go in, and then I looked away, and he was gone.
Yeah, I mean, Raze just exploded him there. He's level 18 to level 14. As you mentioned, he is also 200 CS up, if you do not mind. Now, that gold is split amongst the solo laners of Avant. Chippies is 100 CS up over his opponent. You know, Shock is 100 CS up over his opponent, but Raze can just do stuff like this.
And just walk up to Gunkrab, force the flash just by moving into the top lane. 17, almost 18,000 gold. I mean, I don't even remember the last time I've seen like a difference that huge in a single roll.
And I mean, has a teleport to be able to get back onto the map, so it won't even lose tempo here for this play. That's the last item completed. You'd have to expect it to Merc Scimitar. So, you know, he's even tankier. Still hoovering up gold, though. A little bit.
He needs a potion.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
Give me an elixir.
He has a potion on right now, so he doesn't
Well,
even
he
need
needs
that.
to refresh it, doesn't he, for the
that's
next
true.
fight? You've got to
Aladoric
float 500 gold.
looking for something here. But this is a dangerous Lucian.
Yeah. Understatement of the century. Raze is very, very, very scary. And AV need to rotate and clear up these lanes. You know, Claire is sherpering in these minions into the mid lane, bottom lane the same. And Inhibitor, I believe, has respawned, but is being hammered by minions. And no one's really able to contest because Claire is blocking the movement from the top lane to the bottom lane. And if they leave, then they lose top tower. So AV caught in a very awkward situation. And Aladoric, if he steps forwards, that was just a single E out from Rumble. Cutting the health regen as well. And Raze steps forwards, double tap. Takes away about 6 of the HP, and every single time he does that, it's closer and closer to falling. Claire's is threatening. Finally, the tower falls, and AV are just losing ground ever so slightly. I mean, at some point, they will need to pull the trigger here, otherwise they'll just lose the game.
Yeah, absolutely. They go in.
And there it is. Cataclysm onto the back line, stalling a lot of time here. Swiper backing away, and Chippies is following. Goes into the Zhonya's. Oh, goes airborne though, and Chippies was unable to get anything from that ultimate. In goes the Lee Sin. Raze backing away. They've killed the AD carry, but they don't have the resets. Aladoric doesn't have a team, and he's running from the base. Doesn't have the ultimate anymore. Shutdown comes in, and that will be 4 kills. Actually, only 3 kills there from Chiefs, but should be the final kill stroke here.
Certainly could be. You can see Shock still alive. Aladoric trying to get back.
Oh, right over the Nexus. Ayla getting the CC on to Shock. In comes Aladoric, 1 versus 4. With no ultimate, not a whole lot he can do against this onslaught from the Chiefs. And it was tough fought, 36 minutes, but Chiefs managed to do it and take down Avant.
And now really creating gap between that top 3 and everyone else in the OPL. 2 games between Avant and now Gravitas and Order. You know, on the 7 wins, but Chiefs, I think, moved up to 11 now.
Yep.
Bombers on, I think, 9, somewhere around there.
Yes.
So, I mean, that is very much, you know, a big gap that's starting to form at the top of the table. Mammoth, Chiefs, and Bombers look in such a cut above everyone else right now. That is a very classy performance from the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, every game we've seen, I think, this weekend from those 3 teams you've mentioned have just been so clean. You know, I think, like, Mammoth specifically have cleaned up basically everything that they wanted. It's just like, you know, like the good problem to have, right? Like, oh, our early game isn't going well. We're still winning games, but, like, we'd like to clean up the early game. Has done that, right? And, yeah, I mean, the same from the Chiefs. Like, yes, I think that maybe you look to top lane and you say that there's like Swiper has had some difficult laning phases, but like, have you ever seen like the end of a game being like, oh wow, they definitely just lost that game, or this game was way harder because Rumble died? No, right? Like, you would never be in that situation.
And it's the adaptation that you see, right? So Swiper goes to side lane twice and gets killed twice, and does not show in a side lane for the rest of the game. Just forfeits all farm and says, I am here for the utility of my ultimate.
right.
And the disgusting like control that Rumble has over a fight. You know, we saw him hit 1 Electro Harpoon. It's like a 60% slow. And you just go, like, you feel like, especially you're zooming around as Pyke, you have Moby boots, you get hit by 1 and you just stop moving. Like, that's what it feels like. Like, you're just in quicksand, right? And I think that that is like the adaptation. Whereas like Chippy's, he's playing the on-hit cannon. He doesn't want to group and team fight, but his team needs him to group and team fight because of what Swiper is doing, refusing to answer that side lane. So I think like the Chiefs are really good at identifying this is our win condition.
Yeah.
Let's stop doing their win condition and let's just do our win condition and force them to play the game on our terms through superior, you know, decision making and vision control. And it was really impressive in that game.
Yeah. On the flip side, you know, Avant now in a very difficult situation. You know, this has been a lot of losses in like
I think
very
they're
few
4
weeks.
in a row.
Yeah, you know, and that's like huge for a team like that. For now, though, we are going to send it over to Nick Boy for the player interview.
Thank you very much. I'm sitting here with Only. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How did that one feel for you?
Yeah, good. Like I mean, I kind of entered like the early game, but yeah, still felt good. Win's a win. So
As the guys were saying, it's very, very clear there's now a top 3 between you, Mammoth, and Bombers. The gap widening between AV, was that something that was important for you heading into the weekend?
yeah, I mean, I like beating teams that are like close to us. I think DOS has like a thing where like he feels like he never loses to AV. So yeah, beating them again always feels good. Yeah.
And so then what's the plan moving forward over the next couple of weeks? How do you prepare for, you know, this could go down right to the last week depending on how everything shakes out. How are you prepared mentally to head into that?
Yeah, I mean, like just getting really good at like the style that we like to play. Like, you know, Mammoth, like I personally think they like the scaling champs. I think Bombers like playing a bit more scrappy, a bit more aggressive in the early game. And like personally, I'm feeling the scrappy play style a bit more too. Like I want to play the Lee Sin and like the fun stuff. So I think just like getting better at that. Yeah.
And are you adjusting to the new patch?
I mean, yeah, trying. Like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Cool. And then finally, we've been asking everyone throughout the evening, job interview tips. This was a question that a viewer sent in. We've decided to ask all the pro players because, you know, you would have had a job, which I assumed was right, but then most of them have gone, no, I actually haven't. I've just done this.
Yeah.
Have you had a part-time job before?
Yeah.
Give us your best job interview tip.
Just confidence and pretending like you know what you're doing, even if you don't know what you're doing.
What was your first job?
I was a referee, like a soccer referee.
So I feel like that is a
And
job predicated entirely on knowing what
I
you
didn't know
did.
anything. So,
Really?
yeah. Like I just like cheated my way in. So
You just blew the whistle a lot.
yeah.
Did you red card a lot of people?
Yeah, I gave 2 red cards.
That's good.
A lot of yellows too.
Yeah, that's good. That's what I like to hear. Someone tough who doesn't know what they're talking about basically describes me. Congratulations on the win. We'd love to see you here again next week. We'll be back right after this.
Bottom lane turret was already broken, and this could be a genuine 4v4. Carmen not here.
Swiper just walking on into the mid lane, pretty much cop all of this damage immediately, throws out the equalizer before he dies though, and Chiefs are going to use this opportunity to chase down the rest of Avant, who are retreating into their jungle. Chippy's backing away, nice sidestep on that one, but only chasing down Miru, doesn't land the Q. They are still able to sweep up this Kennen and actually come out as yet another counterpunch from them. Miru turns the corner into an immediate Cataclysm onto Raze. Ayla wants to re-engage though, only jumps in, but he's dead, gets the first execute, finds the second as well. It's the first time we really saw that in the mid lane though. Aladoric getting kicked into the enemy team, and that was just too clean actually here from the Chiefs. Turn this one right back around. Claire's getting a second. Chippy and Miru re-engaging though underneath this tower. It's a 2 versus 5 before Shock gets here. That was basically a suicide there from the Jarvan, and Chippies will also follow, otherwise they'll just lose the game.
Yeah, absolutely. They go in.
And there it is, Cataclysm onto the back line, stalling a lot of time here. Swiper backing away, and Chippies is following, goes into the Zhonya's. Oh, goes airborne though, and Chippies was unable to get anything from that ultimate. In goes the Lee Sin, Raze backing away. They've killed the AD carry, but they don't have the resets. Aladoric doesn't have a team, and he's running from the base. Doesn't have the ultimate anymore. Shutdown comes in, and that will be 4 kills. Actually, only 3 kills there from Chiefs, but should be the final kill stroke here.
Certainly could be. You can see Shock still alive. Aladoric trying to get back.
Oh, right over the Nexus. Ayla getting the CC on to Shock. In comes Aladoric, 1 versus 4. With no ultimate, not a whole lot he can do against this onslaught from the Chiefs. And it was tough fought, 36 minutes, but Chiefs managed to do it and take down Avant.
You gave me this when we were just 16 years old. Darling, cop up.
A little goes a long way at Macca's. Grab 24 Chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 every day.
And we're back.
Hey.
How you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get used to it at this stage, don't you?
What are you gonna do?
Not a lot right now.
Take on the Juves mentality. Just jump in.
Just yell no matter what. Just jump in,
That
yell
too.
no matter what.
That too. Bryce?
Yeah, banger game. I think a couple of things coming out of this one. Very disappointing for Aladoric. You know, he's absolutely
had a
popping
good
off
game.
in the pike, and AV's like inability to capitalize. But I think a couple of things are certainly cementing themselves. I tweeted it the other week. I guess Raze is, in my eyes, absolutely cementing himself as the best AD carry. This is probably a pretty boring weekend to be Quinny K. Like game yesterday. Richard said on the cast, he's like searching for an opponent, and he certainly didn't find one here today. I don't think I've seen a lead where you like double CS is the Flame Horizon. That's the like, oh my god, this guy is getting cooked.
You were so excited by that goal.
And he is double gold. It was like 17.9 to 9. He's so close to literally double gold. And yeah, Chiefs are just such a quick team. That was another game where like it did look disastrous at points, right? Like things were going poorly in the bottom side. Swiper was having a mega roughie in the top lane, and then it is just a very decisive like flash kick from Only. They all commit to the play, and they're able to stabilize from that point, and that is looking like the blueprint for a Chiefs game. Quick calls, they all commit, and it is just continuing to work.
And I will say it was much improved from Avant, though, from even the last 3 games that we saw. You know, they gave it to the Chiefs. They had a lead at some stage, and while there wasn't someone in the AD carry position, unfortunately, in this game, and I think item builds could be looked at there, because Athene's doesn't even clear waves.
Yeah.
It wasn't ideal, but it was much improved.
Well, it's exciting as well. It's a bit of a do-or-die territory heading into the next couple of weeks for Avant, and it is exciting as a viewer to watch teams under that kind of pressure.
Yep.
See how they perform.
Love it. Just love it.
Those of you who have performed very well, our budget cosplay entries, we have whittled down all of the wonderful, cheap, low effort sometimes, high creativity at other times, cat involving at other time, entries into a top 4. Let's start with the overall winner. We would normally go in reverse, but I think we've shown our hand pretty heavily in the last segment. The overall winner is Steph Abbey with the regifted Amumu. It's just so budget.
It's too good.
How just relatable, though.
So good.
I like that the background is also kind of dreary. You know what I mean? It's just like a brick wall and a door, and it's just like a Moomoo's just like, do I have to leave?
You're not even
I don't want to
standing
leave, guys.
where the Christmas tree would be. You're just like, you're on your way out.
Yeah.
It's just like the detail that goes into some of it, then the fact that you've got thongs on, which flip-flops for Americans, just before anyone freaks out. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
it's
perfect.
beautiful. It's all beautiful. And then we've got our 3 runner-up winners who all get the same amount of prizes as our actual
Hooray!
winner.
You just didn't win.
The first one is Davo Erlo with the Astro Nautilus, which gets a laugh every time, even if you don't.
So good.
It's so
Even
good.
if you don't know who the champion
There's
is.
just, I like, genuinely, there is just something about that photo that is objectively hilarious.
You know what it is? I could see Bryce doing that in his house.
I can see that as well.
Oh,
Who
my
am I?
Lord.
Yeah, I think the thing that makes that so funny is the opposite as to the dreary background of the regifted Amumu. It's such a just wholesome, I'm in the middle of my family home doing this insane pose. Like, you can imagine like his like partner just walking around the corner and just going, what the hell are you doing? Like,
You, toilet paper rolls. You, get me the bin.
yeah.
I'm ready, put them on. And it's
now?
just like,
Shave the middle
Yeah.
of my face.
yeah.
Our second runner-up winner is Fedora the Explorer with Twisted Fate. I mean, you're getting the prize just because you didn't expose yourself to the
Significantly less Nick.
this time. But
big deal.
Really, you're getting the prize, I think, because it's, as Rusty pointed out, an embodiment of the vibe.
I get Outback Twisted Fate from this.
Big time.
I also, did anybody look at the cards?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that until now.
420.
Right,
He's got
yeah,
himself
there you go.
420 in his hand. He's got a little +4. That's a TF passive. You know, he's just
Wild card.
collecting. He's collecting gold.
He's memeing all over the
Yeah,
place.
I didn't
And then
even
the
see that.
final winner. There was a lot of deliberation because there are a lot of amazing entries.
Was there? Or was it just me arguing about which animal would win?
Yeah, I mean, your shortlist contained mainly real animals, and it did end up going to that is it Rage Quite with the Yumi, which, I mean, this was all Rusty's choice here for this one, but you were just impressed with the talent of getting a cat to sit that still with a hat.
Yeah, and there is stuff on the cat more than just like the head is covered. So it's
Yeah.
impressive you got a photo with the cat somehow sitting still, like the head's not moving in complete discontent.
The only thing I will say is potentially it's not that budget of cosplay because that could be a very expensive cat. Have we factored in the
it's
cat
a
price? The stick
Gucci
Did
price?
we
cat.
factor in the human prices and in the humans wearing cosplay?
People are cheap these days. There's far too many of us. So congratulations to all of our winners. Every single one of you get a Cloud Alpha HyperX headset, courtesy of HyperX. It is a good listen, and you are all going to enjoy the sweet sounds of League of Legends even more because you spent, I would say, maximum 4 minutes putting together an entry to a competition. So well done. People who put in more effort than just 4 minutes, our teams today. Let's take a look at the results from this evening. Legacy versus Bombers. It was Bombers who managed to take out game number 1. Mammoth take down Direwolves. Game number 2. Gravitas with a turnaround defeat against Order for game 3, and then finally taking out the win for game 4, Chiefs against Avant. It was an eventful day.
Closer. Much closer today than yesterday.
Oh,
I think it's
yeah.
fair to say.
There was just smackdowns yesterday. And
Big
then
time.
closer on the ladder as well. We were coming into like the last game. If AV took that one, they put themselves a point above. But now you do really have like them, Direwolves, Order, Gravitas, all just sort of equalizing at the bottom of the gauntlet bracket there to head on into the latest weeks.
It is going to be an exciting couple of weeks coming up to take a look at the standings. Just to reiterate what Bryce said, we've got Mammoth there, top of the table. Then we go Chiefs, Bombers, Avant, Direwolves, Gravitas. Gravitas equal with Order there for 6 and 7, and then Legacy sitting bottom of the table at 8th. Who knows what it could look like at the end of the split, but there's only one way to find out. Well, there's actually 2 ways, because we are obviously going to stream the whole broadcast. But if you want to come along live, head to melbourneesportsopen.com.au/tickets. Come to the Melbourne Esports Open. It's a wonderful weekend full of wonderful esports and wonderful League of Legends. Come dressed as your terrible cosplays.
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, do
Why
it.
not? Yeah.
Be sick.
Come eat a boomstick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come drink some
Eat
coffee.
a boomstick?
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah,
how
the
you
roasted.
pointed out last week that it looked like he was
He's
about to
just
chow
chowing
down.
down.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
chowing down.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the
that's
same
just-
picture over and over again. It's exciting when new things pop up.
Yeah.
Other competitions, OCAL. We mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. You can still join OCAL. Sign-ups are open still for week 2, and you can join at any time. But remember, the earlier you join, the more prizes, the more chances you get to get some bang for your time buck. That is the Community Amateur League. Get in on it. All right, taking a look at the Pro League, though, next week, our schedule for Friday evening. OPL, Direwolves versus Legacy game number 1. Avant take on Gravitas for game 2. Order versus Bombers game 3. Finally, Mammoth versus Chiefs.
I was looking at this on my little sheet, and I don't know who wins. I'm coming into it thinking that. Well, yes, us. We get to watch it live and in stereo in the building.
That's right.
But I just think, genuinely, I'm prediction. I think Chiefs may come out on top on that one, given what we've seen in recent weeks. They're looking better and better.
Mammoth.
Sure. It's a bet.
Is it?
It's a bet.
Well,
I don't know.
Okay, but we don't know what's at stake. We just shook hands on nothing.
Yep.
All right, good.
It's a bet.
I'm excited. We always seem to be putting those excellent games right at the end. It's almost like it's some sort of tactic to be able to keep people watching. All right, a big thank you to our sponsors for making this whole shebang possible. McDonald's, the official partner of the OPL. M-Wave, the official retailer of the OPL. HyperX, not only the official headset of the OPL, but the official budget cosplay reward of the OPL. Thank you very much for giving away 4 of your excellent product to 4 of our excellent fans. And finally, to Cats, the official cosplay prop of the OPL. It's just nice to see them represented.
Enough dogs.
Well, we have a dog in the studio all the time. It's about time cats get their due, right?
Is it?
You know what we should do?
Dogs
We
are
should
strict
watch
with
that Cats trailer.
No, we shouldn't.
You know the musical?
It's real scary.
Yep.
I mean, it's a trash tier musical, and that film just looks absolutely awful. What won't be awful is the NPL. It's coming up now. It is a full OPL cast team NPL, and we're going to be doing a Summoner's Rift. Let's get back to basics. Let's pull out the Zilly.
I was about
You know
to say,
what
you
I'm
playing
saying?
Zilly?
Boys, let's do it. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.